Welcome to Phil Gordon's podcast from the 2005 World Series of Poker, brought to you by ExpertInsight.com. Phil is co-host of Bravo's Celebrity Poker Showdown, a two-time World Poker Tour champion and noted author. For more insight into the mind of a true poker champion, visit www.expertinsight.com.
All right, it's final table day. I'm down at the World Series of Poker. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon. This is going to be great. I've got 91,000. I am in eighth place out of 9 players at the table, but I feel confident. I've been playing very, very good poker. 91,000 is 15 big blinds. Anything can happen. I just need to get one double up, and I'll be in great shape. My real target, I think, is going to be the guy on my left. And though it's traditionally hard to get chips from the guy on my left, I really think that he might be the mark. Him and Chuck Thompson, I think, are the two players that I'm going to go after the most. And even though Chuck has 500,000, but 15 big blinds, I can afford to wait around a little while. I'm not desperate yet. And the good news is the button starts on my left, which means I'm going to have 8 solid hands before the blinds come around to me. There is also a $2,000 buy-in tournament going on at the same time, but I don't get to play in that, obviously. Just did a pre-game interview with ESPN. Got to talk about the Bad Beat on Cancer initiative. Talk about the Rock, Scissors, Paper World Series, which is coming up tomorrow. We're almost got a full field for that. We've got about 50 players signed up. We only need 14 more. I feel great. I got not a lot of sleep last night. I normally don't sleep very well right before tournaments, right before the final table of a big tournament. And last night was no exception. Hands keep running through your head. You keep thinking of strategies, and it's just very difficult to get a good night's sleep. But had a triple espresso from Starbucks right before, just a minute ago, right before getting started, and I feel fantastic. Really fantastic. I really feel in control. My buddy Rafe just sent me a text message that says they can't beat you unless they get lucky. I truly believe that's the case. So anyway, we're just minutes away from sitting down. I will give you updates as they happen. All right, there are literally 500 or 600 people in the stands watching this thing. It's fantastic. I made a little bit of a move early. David Pham on my right, who is two-time card player of the year, just a really great player, but very aggressive. Came around to him in middle-weight position, and he raised it to 23,000. And I looked down at the ace-queen offsuit. I decided that I thought I had the best hand, and I was ready to gamble. I really needed to get some chips, and also it's going to be very difficult for him to call 90,000 there. So I moved in. He thought about it for a little while and ended up folding his hand. I took down the pot. I'm up to about 120. A couple hands later, everyone folded to me. I was in the cutoff position with king-queen. I normally don't like king-queen, but I really have to take a stand here with only 20 big blinds here. I made it 24,000 with the blinds 4 and 8,000. And a very, very loose player called on my left. Now, I hate that when that happens because he has position on me, and it makes it very, very difficult for me to win with king-queen unless I flop something good. Both the blinds folded. The flop came down 8-7-3, and this is not a hand that you can bluff with. It's just too easy to get called by any pocket pair or anything, so I decided I was done with the hand. I checked, and he checked, surprisingly. I really kind of expected him to bet there. Most really good players would almost automatically bet there. Turn came a miracle king, which was great for me. I led right at the pot with a half the pot bet. There were no flushes or straights possible, really. And he raised me. He doubled my raise, and I moved in on him, and he called me. And he turned over king 10. A couple guys at the final table, Mike Raz and another guy, told me, I folded a 10, I folded a 10. So he was drawn to only one out. It did not get there, and wow, for the first time in the tournament, I'm up over average. I've got 250,000. I'm really feeling it. I got the respect to the table. I'm in great shape now. Absolutely fantastic shape. Just unbelievable. Just such a feeling of euphoria when I doubled up there. The euphoria was short-lasted. I almost can't even speak to this hand. It's just a few minutes since I busted out of the tournament. I've got 250,000. Everyone folds to David Pham, who, if you remember, I had raised all in just a couple of rounds earlier, and made him lay his hand down. Everyone folded him. He's in the cutoff position. He raises it to 24,000. I look down in the small blind, and I find 2 aces. And I came up with a plan. I needed to I want to re-raise there. First of all, because I'm out of position. I don't like to play flops out of position and no limit hold'em. Second of all, I want to define the strength of his hand a little bit more appropriately. And third, I know that if he's got a pocket pair, he's very likely to move all in on me. So I made it 75,000. He went into the tank and finally raised all in. Of course, I called in the shot. He turns over 2 10s. I've got aces. He's got 10s. I'm 82% to win. Flop came Jack 7-3 with 3 suits. Now I'm 92% to win. Turn. Well, you guessed it. It's a 10. And I'm drawing to only 2 outs. I'm now a 25-1 underdog, and it did not get there on the river. I think I handled it pretty well. It's one of the most brutal beats I've ever taken. To get your money in, that much money in, as good as I got it in, I felt great. I did cash 66,000, which is a good score. But if I win that pot, I'm going to be the chip leader in the tournament and really have control. I really think I've got a good shot at winning my first bracelet if I win that pot. But that's poker, and like I said in my exit interview, all you can do is get your money in with the best hand. I did that. I think I played the best poker of my life these last 3 days. I feel very good about it. Actually, I feel very good about the way I played, but not about the end result, obviously. All I can do is keep playing good cards and hope that my luck is a little bit better next time. I'm going to try to find a couple of players here for interviews. Tomorrow we've got the Rochambeau World Championship. It's rock, scissors, paper, the World Series of rock, scissors, paper. 66,000 bucks. I guess it's time to go buy a beer. All right, guys. Despite busting out of the tournament, I've got enough energy to sit down with one of the real superstars of the game, Phil Hellmuth Jr. Phil has the 9 World Series of Poker bracelets. It's tied for the lead. He also has surpassed and become the #1 money finisher in the World Series of Poker history with one of the events earlier in this tournament. He just won the National Heads Up Championship on NBC. Noted author and noted brat as well. We're going to talk about that just a little bit. But Phil, tell me, since I just took a bad beat, let me, let's talk a little bit about bad beats, because people seem to take it a little bit personally, you know, like it's something that the other person did to them personally. But I don't normally look at it like that. I normally look at it as like it's just like the random luck of the draw. With these huge fields, you're going to take bad beats, right?
Yeah, you are. I mean, hey, Toby.
Toby McGuire just walking by.
Birthday party, July 16th in LA. Do you want to play me heads up, or you're not looking for any press? Heads up for charity?
Toby McGuire just walking by. Phil challenging him to a heads-up match. Toby's a good player, isn't he?
He's a great player. He was looking to play some heads-up with me last time I was in LA, and I just didn't have time. I mean, I'm probably the only poker player in the world that just doesn't run to play with the stars and the billionaires.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just not going to do it. I mean,
what are Toby's 3 best strengths at the table?
Well, he's very calm, and he just really wants to learn, you know, and he's become a great player already, and he's certainly, it's between him and Ben Affleck for greatest celebrity poker player. And then there's James Woods. But I'm having this big birthday party. July 16th is my birthday in LA.
How old are you going to be, Phil?
And I didn't really organize 41.
41.
I didn't organize it. I mean, one of the companies I'm with organized it, and it looks like I might play Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, a heads-up $5,000 freeze-out for charity. There's, you know, Clear Channel's gotten involved and some other sponsors, and it could be a really big thing. Really, it's kind of just an A-list party, but I'm going to try to bring the reigning world champion.
Are you inviting any B-list people? Because I'm available on the 16th.
Yeah, sure, Phil. Come on along. You know, I mean, the 16th is the day after the big one. And it would be nice to win the big one and then go over there.
Exactly. With 6,600 people in the field, Phil.
They go back to your bad
yeah, there are going to be some bad beats there that you're going to have to survive.
Look,
when the field's this big, it's just going to happen. I mean, I just took one. I know, you've lost a lot of tournaments on bad beats. How do you handle it?
Look, you had 2 aces against 2 tens. So now the guy kind of let's say that he kind of had to play the tens in that situation.
He dogged it. I don't think he has to play.
He doesn't
for
even
all
have to play him. Okay.
No, he doesn't have to. He can call my raise, but he doesn't have to move in on me. I mean, that's horrible.
Right.
He can only get called by hand to beat him there.
Well, anyway, I don't know the situation, but I do know this. I hate taking a bad beat when it means a lot. And anybody that's watched television the last year has seen me take a heck of a lot of bad beats.
The one at the in the $2 million free roll last year was. Didn't you take a bad beat there?
Some of them that I've taken have just been sick. Toto will move in with ace-7 after it comes queen 8-7. He'll bet like $250,000 into $100,000 pot, and I'll call him with queen jack, and the river's a 7.
Yeah.
All this bullshit. So that's frustrating, and I go off a little bit because it's the significance of the moment. It's someone playing a hand in a very bad way.
Well, and part of the thing about you is that there's no one in the world of poker that wants to win as much as you. I mean, I think I might be a close second there, but you really bring a lot of intensity and a lot of heart to the game. You don't want to lose, and you make a lot of big laydowns for that very reason. But you really bring a lot of passion, and you feel it. I mean, when you take a bad beat like that, it hurts. I'm sitting right here. I can hardly ask you questions right now because my stomach feels like I'm about to puke.
It's
and talk about significant. I mean, I'm chip leader with 8 people at the table.
Right.
And I've never won a bracelet. You've won 9. I mean, I'm desperate to get one. I really had great expectations that this could be my tournament.
You have to look back in your life and you have to say, did I beat aces a bunch of times at some point? And if there was a tournament where you did, or a couple tournaments, then maybe it's not quite as bad. But in my situation, I almost never have the best hand for the big pots. For some reason, even the great players spot me way the best of it. I don't understand why that is.
Yeah.
Maybe I get in their heads, or maybe it seems like I'm stealing, and then they make a move when they have, 2 6s when they really shouldn't, and I show them 2 kings for all the money. But for some reason, the great players keep spotting me the money. But yeah, you're right, Phil. I mean, you're going to have the chip leader. You're playing some great poker. I know that. Because you just beat all those people, and so getting aces beat there frickin' hurts.
Yeah, it does. All right, so
I mean, I'm pissed off today. I threw away ace queen before the flop. I had it came 7-9 jack with 2 hearts. I had 9s and a flush draw. I mucked that hand almost to the point where I mucked, and then there was another hand I thought maybe I had the best hand. It came queen jack 7 with the jack 7 of diamonds. The queen 7 of diamonds, and I had queen 10. I was pretty sure I had my opponent beat. I'd limped in and he was in the small blind, but he bet 800 to 400, and that's always a bad sign that he has a draw, or maybe he has jacks and 7s.
Right, people tend to overbet when they don't want to be called.
Exactly. So, I mean, I went with I decided to lay it down, and, I fought all that time just to get ace-king, and I finally got the ace-king, and I got it all in against 2 10s, and he was a small favorite today. And I went out, but I lasted 4 hours without picking up hardly any hands. And that's when I'm at my best. When I'm not picking up hands, but I'm deep every day anyway, that's when I'm at my best. Because when the hands start coming, I mean, today I had 2,000 4 hours into the tournament.
Right.
And if I picked up just one hand, I'm going to be up to 4,000, and I can start playing a little bit.
I think people tend to play too aggressively in the early stages of a tournament. You can't win until you get down to the last 2.
No.
And they're willing to take their 50-50s real early in a tournament. I personally like to get my money in like 82% like I was just a minute ago.
Of course. And I mean, that's what the top pros don't realize is all they have to do is wait 10 minutes. They get their money in bad, but 10 minutes later they would have had the best of it.
Yeah.
And
well, anytime I'm thinking about making a questionable call, I realize that 2.2% of the time I'm going to pick up aces, kings, or ace-king on the very next hand. That's about 1 out of 45 hands.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice way to look at it. I like that.
And if I can make a good lay down there, in this spot, 1 out of 45 times, the very next hand I picked up could be the one.
I mean, I agree with you. I've made so many times I've made great laydowns to survive, and then picked up aces, and then a set. And all of a sudden I'm chip leader.
Yep.
And that just little nubbing of chips.
Yep.
And that's the discipline that it takes to, you know, you have to be able to be a laydown master if you want to be a champion. And that's, right now I happen to be at the absolute top of my game. I came in the first tournament, and 2,300 players, I had the chip lead with 100 left.
Wow.
I finished 24th. And I was card dead for 2 hours twice in that tournament. And the one time I could have played better. I mean, I was dead to the last 2 hours of day 2. I was dead, really card dead, and I still could have maintained my chip stack with some real skillful maneuvering, and I didn't quite do it. You know, I realized later, you know, yeah, you were card dead, and I kept planning on picking up a hand eventually, and it just kept never happening.
Yeah.
And so, but there's a way where you can say, you know what, I don't care if I don't pick up a hand for an hour. I'm going to maintain my chips.
Right.
And now you're talking about some advanced.
You just got to steal one blind every round. I mean, or, you know.
Right? Or come over the top.
Or come over the top one time every 3. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
You know, and so there were a couple times where I could have done that.
Yeah.
I knew my opponents had hands. I mean, every time it was my big blind, it seemed like this guy kept raising it. And he'd always say, you know, I have a hand. And I always say, yeah, I know you have a hand. Yeah, I know he has ace-jack. And I'm like, I might as well just lay it down. And then he'd show me every time, ace-jack, ace-jack, ace-queen. But I probably could have re-raised him once when I knew he had a hand and said, you know, I know you have a hand. Now, you played that game and maybe got him to fold. But
So you got a fantasy camp coming up soon, eh?
yeah, I got a fantasy camp.
When is that?
So it was great to break the record, because the first field I beat 2,300 players. Then I played the limit hold'em with 1,100. I was chip leader with 100 players for that tournament.
Right.
You know, and so every day I'm deep. And at 1:30, Annie busted me out. She put 2 bad beats on me. The last one I had pocket kings, and she had 2 8s. And I got a little hot. I told her, I said, I'm going to beat you some big pots down the line. And so I started to get a little steamed up. I should have shut up, but you know I love Annie.
Yeah, she's a good player.
We have
Great
Camp
ambassador.
Hellmuth. CampHellmuth.com is coming up.
When is it? And tell what's the whole thing? You're going to give some seminars?
It's going to sell for sure.
How many people are invited?
We're going to have 500 people there, and there's been some movie stars and some celebrity athletes who have been invited, but I never asked if I could use their names.
Right.
So I'm not even going to mention them. But that's not what the camp's about. It's not about the movie stars. It's about me and David Williams and Evelyn Ng and T.J. Cloutier, John Benetti. It's about those guys. It's about playing with the pros. You know, and we'll have some seminars, and we'll play our hands face up afterwards and tell you what we were thinking. It's just going to be a great learning experience, and I think we're going to sell at all 500 spots.
And it's here in Vegas at Caesar's Palace,
yep.
right?
And the opening. You and I were partying at Pure
yeah, we were.
a month ago.
Let me just say, Phil Hellmuth on the dance floor, not a pretty sight.
Hey, at least I think I can dance, so I'm out there.
Also, I think Phil is probably the only person in the world that's ever been allowed to wear sunglasses and a hat in the nightclub Pure at Caesar's Palace. But
yeah, they told me that the rappers come in there and offer them $1,000, and they say no. So they came up to me and they said, Phil, you got to take off your sunglasses and a hat. Well, at that point, I think it was like an hour into the night. I was still kind of on water, I think. It was before I started drinking my Dom Perignon, my usual. And so I just said to them, I said, no big deal, I'll just go. I wasn't even upset.
Right.
I'm not going to be throwing a temper tantrum or anything. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm just going to go. When I said that, they, oh, no, you know. And I said, no, I'm not even upset. I don't mind leaving because I'm on water. No, Phil, you can do it. You know, they started having a big discussion. They said, we've never let anybody wear a hat and sunglasses in here before. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool, and they let me do it.
All right, just a couple more questions. 6,600 people in the main event this year. I want a very honest assessment of your chances of winning. Let
me tell you something, Phil. After beating 2,300 players the other day, you have to remember you're really playing against 2,300 players, not 6,600.
Right.
Because day one starts with, 2,600 players.
22, yeah.
2,200. So I'm looking at it like that. When I'm not in the tournament, there'll be 3,000 players eliminated when I'm not even in the room.
That's true.
So I'm looking at it a lot differently than everybody else. I know that I'm at the absolute top of my game right now. And I'll tell you what, when there's 200 people left, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to have a lot of chips. And I just have to be able to, I really feel like I'm going to win it anyway.
All right, well, let's answer the question, Phil. What are your chances out of 100?
Phil, I don't think that way. I don't go with chances or this or that. I have to believe I'm going to win the World Series of Poker main event at least once more in my life. I don't care if there's 100,000 people in it. I'm going to believe that, and I'm going to hold on to that belief, and I'm not going to let some mathematician who's never accomplished what I've accomplished in life tell me I can't. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
So,
I mean, you won the main event in 88?
Yeah.
In 88, and you got
I'm
back
not
to
saying you're a mathematician.
No, and you got back to the final table in 2001. I was at that final table.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
did you ever have any?
Put a terrible beat on me. I was.
Oh God, let's talk about that a minute. I had 2 6s. Phil Hellmuth had 2 9s, and it's very similar to the beat I just took in this event. I flopped the 6 on him.
Right. But the difference was you had decided that you were going to move in on me every hand, and I knew that. So I let you do it 2 or 3 times, and then when I picked up the 9s on the button, I said, he's going to go with this hand. And when you started to study, I said, man, I think I have him in bad shape. And you moved in, and I called a $500,000 in less than half a second.
That's
two
true.
Black 9s. And you showed the 6s, and it came 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
But I think I would have won the World Series that year. And the weird thing is, I was never all in that whole tournament. I never put in more than 100,000 in a single pot. Maybe 150 once until that hand.
Yeah.
And if I win that hand, I really think I'm going to win the main event that year.
Yeah.
And then in 2000, I made the final 60. 2002, I was down there in the final 60. 2003, I finished 24th.
Let's see if we can get Toby McGuire just to say something. 1 second, Toby. I'm doing a little podcast. Just say hello. Just say hello. We're at the World Series of Poker. Toby McGuire. Come on.
Hello.
Oh, wow. Should I give you a script? Would that be better? All right. Go get him, Toby.
Play me if there are no pictures for charity now. I'm going to play Governor Schwarzenegger. Okay. You know, I'm planning... Toby, I might play Arnold.
Toby, a man of few words.
Look,
going back to the table.
Toby is a very, very bright guy. And I really like him a lot. He's been nothing but gracious and nice to me. And I'll tell you something, he's a smart guy. I mean, he saw that getting too much press was bad for Ben and some other guys, and he has kept himself out of the limelight. He always has a mustache and a beard and sunglasses and a hat and some kind of like
well, now you just blew his cover.
Come on. I mean, but people don't want to print those pictures because they can't recognize him. So he has been really...
Yeah.
He wins the Phil Hellmuth Invitational.
I heard that, yeah.
124 players, $2,000 buy-in. I called my PR agent on the way out at 7 a.m. and I said, Toby just won it. It's going to be all over the press.
Yep.
You have a picture? No. Toby's office had made me promise not to take a picture. I live up to my word. I didn't have a picture. No one frickin' knew.
Wow.
It was supposed to be all over Entertainment Weekly and all these things. It was going to be good for me, good for Toby's poker image.
Yeah. Now you got a couple kids, right?
Yeah.
And
14. In
14
fact,
and what?
Yesterday I went home to my eighth grade son had a graduation in Palo Alto, so I flew home for that.
And that's fantastic.
Skipped a couple tournaments.
Well, you're a fantastic family man. Now, I just want to
Look,
just
Phil,
a couple more minutes. Just a couple more minutes.
I've got a friend. Well, Phil Ivey.
Yeah.
I love Phil Ivey.
Yeah.
Right. Great guy. So we both get eliminated Tuesday from the tournament early. So we get in his McLaren. He's got a $500,000 Mercedes. We go over to Shadow Creek. He has a locker there. We play golf for $2,000 a hole. Then
You're playing golf with 2,000 a hole with Phil Ivey?
Yeah. So
oh my God! Let me just say, Phil Ivey cannot break 110 to save his life. And
that's what I was told. But meanwhile, he shot 46 in the front and 52 on the back.
Yeah.
And I was under the nuts. I just happened to par 18 to get out.
Ivey's shooting 98 now?
Think about
yeah,
that.
he's really improved a lot.
We're in a $500,000 car.
Yeah.
Right? We're at Shadow Creek hanging out. And we're playing high-stakes poker at Shadow Creek, and I'm drinking Louis the 13th, right?
Life
right.
is good.
I mean, the bottles were $700 on the Louis.
Life is good.
Right. And so, but you have this surreal life, you know, over here on the one hand, and then, but is that what makes me happy in life? No. I had a great time with Phil, but I had more fun at my son's graduation, as boring as graduations can be. You know, to be sitting with my son on one side and my youngest son and my wife on the other side watching my son graduate. So, you know... Are
they poker players, the kids?
They're playing a little bit. So to me...
Are you encouraging that, or are you discouraging that?
The happiness factor has a lot more to do with family.
Yeah.
And I'm an accomplishment guy. You know, I wrote a best-selling book. I'm trying to break all the records.
Absolutely.
What made me happier, breaking the all-time cash record or being with my wife and kids for the graduation? It's sad to say, but... You know, it was pretty fun being with my wife and kids. Now, if I were to win the main event,
That'd be better.
That's gonna have to be below the graduation away.
All right.
That's gonna have to be very significant.
All right, we've been going for 17 minutes now. I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much. Maybe we can do it again a couple weeks from now.
All right, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for downloading my World Series of Poker podcast. Tune in every day for more insight and fun from the Rio in Las Vegas. This is Phil Gordon. For more information, visit my website,